Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Dylan Talk Sports. My name is Dylan. In this video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be discussing Michigan. Jim Harbaugh just got his suspension. He's been suspended for 3 games. The thing is, he was only suspended for the in-game time. Basically, he can't be on the sideline. The way this is going to work is he can be there to coach throughout the entire week, but he just cannot be there for about the 12-hour period, kind of whenever they're going to be going to the stadium, playing the game, and then leaving. Apparently, Michigan has pushed back on it. They think this is too much. I think it's not enough. I think they should have been taking a different path of punishment, maybe some other things. I'm going to kind of give you guys my opinion on what I thought they should have done, and then my opinion on what they did, and then the reason why Michigan is even pushing back. I'm going to break it all down, so without further ado, if you're going to enjoy, make sure you do drop a like. And without further ado, let's get into it. So like I said, Michigan, they are going to be suspending Jim Harbaugh for 3 games. This is the Big Ten that have come out. They said they're going to be suspending him for 3 games. The problem of why this came out at a bad time is because Michigan plays a road game this week. They go to Penn State. They are currently, this is on Friday afternoon. Michigan is going to be traveling to Penn State, Happy Valley. They leave around 12 o'clock. And they got the news at like 3 o'clock. So Jim Harbaugh didn't even know about what was going on when the news broke. When Harbaugh landed, he got the news from a Michigan correspondent, maybe like a team person within the team. He told Harbaugh, hey, we got the news. You can't be at the game at noon. Obviously, for some reason, Michigan officials, they decided this is too much. They wanted to go ahead and they're taking this straight to court. From what I've heard from sources off of ESPN, Pete Thamel, he said that Michigan is going to be getting a TRO, which is a temporary restraining order. Basically, how this works is if they can get this court order approved, it will then basically take the suspension and push it away until the season is over, or at least until the NCAA also can step in and give their final approval of what they think is going to happen. So like I said, Michigan is going to be having Jim Harbaugh suspended for the first for the final 3 games of the season. And the way I think right now what Michigan is hoping for is if this TRO does get approved, they can then have Harbaugh out there for these last 3 games. If it doesn't get approved, because right now, obviously, as you know, it's Veterans Day weekend, there's not really judges in their chambers right now. With that being said, there are also sometimes on-call judges if you know the law. So at times you might get lucky and maybe you get a judge. Right now what Michigan has been saying is they're hoping that they can get a Michigan maybe fan judge in this court order to kind of come forward and say, yep, I'll sign it. You can still coach. I'm going to go ahead and say this now. Do I think it was a fair punishment of 3 games just not being on the sideline? That I feel like is almost light. There are some people saying that this is a little bit on the heavy side, but it is also kind of a light punishment. And the reason why I think it's kind of a light punishment, and some people are also saying this is like not the way they would have went, kind of the way I'm thinking, I would have probably went the suspension route. But if you don't want to pay a fine, just suspend him for not just the games. Don't let him coach at all. Basically ban him from being anywhere near the team for the 3 weeks. Now, if they think the NCAA is going to be coming down on Harbaugh and maybe even the Connor Stallions and going with some heavy fines, maybe even taking away recruiting from Harbaugh from Michigan, this is probably why they're doing this. Because I've said it before, Harbaugh, what's something that coaches love? Money. What's something they can do? They can walk right in there and they can say, we're fining you $1 million, $5 million. We're going to hit you hard. Because I said it in one of my other videos when I was talking about Michigan. They need to set a standard to where every coach in the country looks at this scenario and says, okay, if I ever sign steal or if I'm ever caught, this is what's going to happen. You have to think of it like if you were breaking the law in real life. You break a law, there are certain things that happen. You break this law, you get 5 years. You break this law, you get 25 years. You break this law, you might get a year and a fine. There needs to be a standard for if you do this, this is your punishment going forward. 2 more things I kind of want to talk about. One, I want to talk about the Michigan fan base and even the Michigan players. Michigan out here saying Michigan versus the world. JJ McCarthy going on Twitter after they found out the news, just putting bet. Tom Brady retweeting it and putting bet as well. Almost like they just think we're going against Michigan when the NCAA, they also put out a whole like list of everything that Michigan has done. I'll try to put it up on screen so you can see it. But basically the NCAA, they have pretty much come out saying, we have the proof. You fucking cheated. Here's the proof if you need to check again. So I don't really understand why the Michigan fan base is getting all upset and butthurt when there is literal proof that you cheated and now all of a sudden it's like, y'all like make it act like we're going against you. I guarantee if this was a Ohio State cheating, a Penn State cheating, Georgia cheating, and Alabama cheating, these Michigan fans, they'd be all over Kirby Smart, Ryan Day, and Nick Saban, basically saying they need to be banned from the NCAA. Get them out of here. They cheated. They shouldn't be allowed. But now that it's them, they are all about, well, everybody kind of cheats. The reason why I say this is because, as you all know, Desmond Howard, he works at College Game Day. He's a Michigan alumni. I don't know exactly what it was he said. I saw it earlier on. I didn't save it. But he said something a couple years ago where it was almost like when somebody else was doing something wrong. And he was basically saying this coach or whatever needs to be just exiled from the league. He shouldn't be allowed to do that kind of stuff and get away with it. They need to go somewhere else. And now your coach is doing something bad. And you're almost just trying to say like, well, I mean, give him a slap on the wrist. He did nothing wrong, I don't think. I'm going to wrap it up with this. Do I think, like I said, Michigan, they should have gotten a heftier punishment. I think it should have came in the form of either just ban him for the 3 games. And then if they, obviously they go to the Big Ten title game, maybe you let him go. And obviously like playoffs, you can let him go then. But just ban him completely, not just from the game. I mean from practice to calling to texting, everything. For 3 games and it be done, or you just leave the suspension as is. And if they don't want the suspension, they call up Michigan officials, the Big Ten commissioner Tony Petitti, and he basically tells them, you don't want the suspension, you better get your bank account ready to watch a lot of zeros go in there, because and I'm not talking about in the plus, I'm talking about in the negative. You're gonna be getting fined heavy, because I almost just think Michigan thinks they're just gonna get away with this, and they're gonna just try to push back, and hopefully we'll just forget about it. No, we're not forgetting about it. We're going to finish up this court case, whether it's within a few months, a year. It's going to be done before next season, I'm hoping. Pretty much to summarize it, I think Michigan, they're going to be getting punished hefty. The NCAA, they are still working on their investigation. Right now, this is just the Big Ten's way of saying, we have found you guilty. The NCAA has found you guilty. The NCAA, they're going to finish up kind of doing some more work, investigating you guys. It's just for now, we need to do something, because if Big Ten teams watch Michigan go out there and win these last 3 games, win the Big Ten title game, go to the playoffs, and somehow they win the national championship, and no punishment was involved, that national championship, I've already said it a couple times, and even some ESPN analysts have said it, it's going to have an asterisk next to it. And if years come down where a 30 for 30 is written, and it's proven that Michigan openly cheated, and what are they going to do? Interview the players and be like, yeah, we cheated. Who cares, though? We won. No. That championship is going to be voided. I'm going to be curious to see kind of how the investigation goes, to see if there's more punishment, but that remains to be seen. Other than that, hopefully you guys are going to enjoy today's video. If you did enjoy today's video, make sure you go ahead and drop a like. It's very much appreciated if you do so. If you watched the entire today's video, thank you very much, and maybe I missed a detail or missed anything, and you want to leave your opinion on kind of how the whole investigation is going, down in the comment section down below. Let me know what you kind of think of the whole investigation. If you think he got a good suspension, bad suspension, too much of a suspension, let me know. If you're a fan of the content that I do post here and you want to go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button, feel free to do so, and do not forget to hit that little notification bell to be notified the second I post. But without further ado, this has been Talk Sports. Have a great day. Peace.